Hello everybody! Oh, it is really nice outside today. You can probably hear all of the crazy critters in the background, so I thought that would be nice. I decided to work on my DIY hook today because it's not too hot outside, and I really wanted to do it outside so I don't have to worry about all the paint and the mess and all of that. So, sitting outside, I've got my mica powder, I've got some acrylic paints, I've got my paintbrush, I have my hook, I have some sparkle glitter, and I have my skewer. So this is really great, little hint, if you are making your own DIY hook as part of our challenge. You can use the skewer to place into the hole in the bottom of the hook, so you can see there's a hole. You can place that in there and then you can really twist it to get it to stay in place. You can also use a nail, like if you have one of those long carpentry type nails, to hold your hook while you're painting it so that you don't have to, so you don't get paint on your hands. So that's super helpful. Right now I think I'm just going to start at the top. I still don't really know what I'm doing. I knew that I was going to try and mix mica powder, glitter, and paint and just see what happened, which is what I'm doing. I've got my little plate and my brush. So far it doesn't really look like you can see the glitter very good in the paint, so I'm going to mix a little more in, see if that helps, and then I'm going to mix a little more mica powder in. I've got orange mica powder, and it may just not mix in well with paint. I've never tried it. We use it with our resin for our hooks. Oh, and a leaf just fell in my basket. I feel like the leaves should not be falling yet. Leaves falling. Okay, so I'm going to start to do a little more mixing. Let's see, I feel like Bob Ross right now. Paint some pretty trees on your paper plate. I would love to know if you guys are joining in on the challenge this year, if you started on your hook. I waited a lot longer than I meant to this year. I figured I would get more of a head start, but I didn't, and that's okay. I am definitely still doing it. So I'm mixing the orange and yellow acrylic paint. I thought about doing some kind of ombre, like a sunset, but I haven't decided. You can see there's my hook. Nothing on it yet. I washed it, so if you have a hook, you might want to wash it off first. I have a feeling this is going to be very abstract, like most of my creations. But we're going to start at the top. Look, first thing of paint. Woo! I don't know how long I'm going to stay on today. My battery is not very happy with me right now. I have a feeling I won't be able to be on here too long. But I just really wanted to give you guys an update because I haven't talked about the DIY hook challenge since our the last day to buy the hooks. So I thought it would be good to work on this today and share it with you. Yeah, I really can't tell. I mixed mica powder in with this paint. I don't see any of it. I don't see glitter and I don't see mica powder. So I'm guessing that that might be a little bit of a fail, but I can still give this a really good coat. And maybe after I get this coated with the first coat, I can go back and coat it with some glitter alone, or I can maybe mix glitter into the resin when we clear coat this. Looks like I dipped it. If y'all have any questions, feel free to pop them in the question box. This was super unplanned, but it just felt so nice outside. I'm going to make sure I haven't missed any comments. Tracy said she's here, and I am decorating my DIY hook challenge hook. A couple other people said hi, 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 hi. Oh, Ellen's been working on her hook today too. That's awesome. Yay. I can't wait to see yours, Ellen. I think I got everybody's comments. So again, if you have questions, feel free to ask, but I am decorating my DIY hook challenge hook. And we'll see if I can make a masterpiece. So I have not painted with acrylic paint in a really long time, but it's kind of cool. I like this idea of kind of like dabbing the hook like this with some different colors, because you can kind of see that yellow in there. Yeah, if I do some kind of sunset, but I don't know what the sun would be setting over. So, like I said, it may just have to be some kind of color mix with all my favorites. But, you know, I love me some pink and orange, so I have pink paint here too. But I don't know yet. I really just wanted to get a good base coat down today, because then I can go back over it with more colors. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty, probably pretty abstract. We have already had quite a few people who have submitted finished photos of their finished hooks. And we have a couple people who've already sent us their hooks for resin coating, so we're really excited about that. It's always super fun to get to seal someone else's work, you know, so we get to see what they created, and then we get to help them coat it and protect it, and then they can actually use that hook. So, you know, you can use our hooks. Our hooks are usable like this. Obviously, they're, you know, they're smooth. But they're not as, it's not as easy to work with them when they're not resin coated. And I think that's probably why you don't see a lot of people selling 3D printed crochet hooks as is, like on Etsy and other shops, because they're just not, in my opinion, smooth enough to be able to use them regularly and it not cause more pain in your wrist from having to try to like work the hook through your stitches. I would equate it to if you bought a wooden hook that was not sealed. So if it was just a raw wooden hook that somebody worked with but didn't really sand it down completely or didn't seal it so it was smoother, is what I would equate our uncoated hooks to, which is what we sell for this challenge. The hooks that you see in our shop that are finished and ready to ship are resin coated. We coat them twice with resin so that they're super smooth. But these, so that we can keep the cost down, and obviously so you can decorate them, because you wouldn't want to decorate a coat that was already, a hook that was already coated with resin. We sell the not quite fresh off the printer, because we do sand them so that you don't have to worry about sanding them. But they are quite unfinished. And that's why it's DIY. Like I said, let me know if you are joining in the challenge this year, if you've already been working on your hook. And I'll show you guys. I think I'm going to just work on the upper part right now. So that's what I've got. That's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I think I just want to do kind of abstract with some different colors, and I do like this a lot. So I wonder if there is a nail in there that I can use. So I do like this, but I think it might fall off because it's not as thin as I thought it was, and I don't want the hook to I don't want it to fall off of here. If I had one of those thinner skewers, you know, they make them in different sizes. Ooh, yeah, see, that's kind of wiggly. I don't want it to be wiggly. I feel like it would be my luck that it would just fall off of there. Yeah, that's... I'm gonna go see if I can find something to hold this a little better. So our garage is right here, and I'll be right back. Hang out if you want to. Okay, I am back. I found a screw. I'm thinking this will work a little better. I tried putting that in the bottom and kind of actually screwing it in there. And it did seem to grip. There we go. And wiggling it a little, it doesn't seem to want to wiggle too much. So I think we're good. That's about as much as I'm going to be able to get it to screw in there. Okay. Alright. So Sam Blue Eyes is doing the challenge. I put my design on the hook and just need to paint it. That's awesome. So last year I actually drew something on my hook and it was just a disaster for me. I am not someone, I always wanted to be able to draw, but I never really could just freehand draw on things or doodle. Was not a doodler. So I tried that last year and I did little, I called it my flower power hook and tried to draw little simple flowers, like the ones you learn when you're a little kid. And it wasn't awful, you know. I used way too much Sharpie, so that's another thing. I would definitely go lighter on the Sharpie if you're using Sharpies. I wouldn't try to really saturate the hook with Sharpie because it's really hard to get it to dry and stay in place. And what happened with mine is when I went to coat mine, this was before we knew that we could protect it. So if you use Sharpie and you use anything, I think that's got alcohol in it or something, it'll start to mess up, it'll run. So we used an alcohol-free acrylic spray to protect it before we actually put the resin on there. And that would have fixed it, but we didn't know that yet. So last year when we went to go coat my hook, all of the colors started to run and it was just this blobby mess. So that was a little disheartening, but this is a learning process. I think that's why we really like this challenge, because we get to see how people get creative. And you know, sometimes some years you may have an idea and it may just not come out the way you thought it was going to come out, but I think that that's, like I said, that's all a part of the creative process. We have quite a few people who purchase multiple hooks for this challenge so that they, you know, have multiple tries, which I think is great. You know, I want people to just be able to get creative, and if the first thing doesn't work out, they can try something new. But this is pretty cool. This is what I was going for. I think this is definitely my style of doing kind of an abstract approach with the brush. So let's see, really mix in some of the brighter colors over the darker color. You can hear those leaves rustling. Like I said, it's so weird. We've got a lot of dead leaves over here on this section of the driveway, and I'm like, it's not fall, guys. I think the leaves are just exhausted from the heat. I know I am. Okay. I think that's pretty darn cool, actually. actually, yeah, I don't think that adding in the mica powder and the glitter did anything. I don't see mica powder or glitter or any kind of shine coming out in the paint. So I think that was probably a waste. But it's, like I said, it's a learning process. I had no idea if it would do anything. So what I'm wondering now is, I really wanted to bring some different colors in. Obviously I don't want it to be just orange and yellow, but I'm interested to see if it all looks really awful when I start adding in different colors. So I think I'm going to add probably some pink first. Pink is my favorite. So let me clean my brush. That paint's really on that brush. Got my little cup of water over here. So the captain is taking a nap. At least when I left the house he was. And I didn't want to wake him up to tell him I was coming out here, so he'll probably be looking for me at some point. Maybe he'll see that I'm live on Instagram and he can see where I am. Okay, I think my brush is pretty much clean. And I'm wondering if I dilute it at all, if that'll do anything. If I dilute where this mica powder was. No, I don't think so. I wonder if that happens when I add some water in there. I'm just playing around. It's not watercolors, it's acrylic, so I'm not really sure what happens when you add water. Got any art teachers on here that can give me advice? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Alright, yeah, let's try some pink. Alright, let me dry that brush off. Alright, and then I've got my pink. There's my pink one. Just waiting on my hook to fall off of this screw and hit the floor. Nope, I'm supposed to shake this or not. Okay. Add a little pink to the plate. Not need a lot. I'm really just using it to play around with these colors. What happens when you mix yellow and pink? I'm ready, I'm checking. Kind of like a magenta brown. Not very pretty. Okay, so if I just do that, and I just start like, whoop, 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 whoop. Now I totally feel like Bob Ross. Somebody should do the DIY hook challenge and watch like a Bob Ross video and put one of his painting follow-alongs on the hook. That would be really cool to see. That's what I should do next year. Happy little trees. I guess I could add trees to this. Y'all actually enjoying watching this? I totally don't have to stay live. We got 13 people on right now. So that's cool. Glad to have you guys. I guess I thought I brought the white out here. I was going to say I could totally add in like some white to mix all this together. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of this over the course of me decorating this hook. Kind of worried this is going to start looking like a murder weapon if this gets too red. That's where we're at. I did one similar to this already. That's the other reason I'm like, I don't know. So let me add in some purple. Let's see what the purple does. So I got my purple. I knew from the beginning I was not going to try to do anything very specific. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of do some abstract-y type things. So let's add in, ooh, that's dark. That's a dark purple. This might be the ugliest hook I've ever seen. That's probably what's going to happen. Oh, man. Maybe if I add in a little more water, let that kind of, ooh, Lord. Yeah, I might have to go back over this, because now it's looking pretty dull, adding in the dark colors. I might have to go get the white. Or just add some more bright yellow, right? Because this is pretty much turning brown at this point. Ah. Yeah, let's add some more yellow back. Oh, God. Yeah, this is pretty bad. This is why I'm doing it live, though. Ooh, that's pretty awful. It was looking so pretty. Okay, what if let's see. Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that, but now it's too late. So I think I'm just gonna, try to mix it back to the lighter colors. I might have to start over once this dries. I say, don't say that art is, oh, I missed it. Well, it did look like fire. Now it looks like poop. Don't say that art is art. It's all in how you interpret it. True. Yes. Yeah, but then I was like, let's mix it. That looks pretty awful. I really should have kept with just like the brighter colors. They don't all go together very well. Let's see. Some of this is drying though, so I could go back over it with the lighter colors again. Because right now I'm dealing with some pretty nasty brown looking color. Not all colors are meant to be mixed. We can agree on that. So let's go back to this yellow and let's see if I can go back over. Oh yeah, now it's like it's a pretty gross yellow. Well, I guess I could go get some white. So let's do that. Let's try some white. Maybe that'll like brighten everything back up. Let's see. I will be right back. Okay, I am back with the white. I'm going to see if we can save this a little bit. And if not, once it dries, I can go back over with a new layer. That's always an option. Okay, where can I put this white? Let's put it right here. There we go. A little white there. I'll put a little white right there. Okay. brush off. Okay. Alright, let's see what happens if we just add some white in here. The good news is the white is kind of covering everything. So I think what I may do is I loved the idea of the sunset kind of feel on the top. But then I could kind of do some kind of like greenery on the bottom, so it's like a sunset over some green, maybe. But I do feel like I'm gonna have to go back over all of this with some white. I'm trying not to push on it too hard either because I don't want it to come off of this little screw that I've got it on. So let's see, I'm just lightening all this back up. So I got way too dark and way too dingy. And I'm keeping some of those undertones up here because that was still really pretty up here. Alright, it's looking a little better. I mean, it's kind of looking awful right now, but I'm trying to save it because we went down a bad road there for a second. Alright, so if we can kind of get back to that white color. I really wanted to try splatter painting. I guess this is kind of the closest you can get to that without like flinging paint at it. Tracy said it looks like a pretty fall day there. It does. It looks like fall, doesn't it? You see all these leaves back here? I told you, I think they're just exhausted from the heat. I think the trees have just had it. Just don't remember it being this hot. We've had so many heat advisories. This has been the nicest day we've had in a while. So I figured I would take advantage of it and spend some time outside. Thought it would be really nice. Yeah, I pretty much gave up on the bottom part of this hook. I'm trying to get it really kind of back to white-esque, at least as close to white as I can get it. I did not like how that was coming along. I think I may try to do some green down at the bottom, like a dark green. And we'll see if I can, but then maybe like once the green dries, I could do splatters of purple and pink as kind of like flowers. It's still going to be super abstract, but then I could have a hard line from the green to like the dark orange and then fade it up to yellow maybe at the top. And it would be like an abstract sunset over wildflowers. So it's interesting going through this process and even doing it live, because obviously this is not what I thought was going to happen. But I feel like it speaks to the overall creative process, because, I mean, this is what I do with my crochet designs. You know, I have to try things and then, you know, see if it works. And sometimes I'll get something completely finished and have to completely frog it, because when I try it on, I just don't like the way it looks, don't feel like it's, you know, unique enough to be its own design. And so, you know, it's a lot of back and forth and trial and error and, you know, trying new techniques and, you know, pulling from what you've already learned to try to you know, try something new. And it can be a really great process if you allow that process to occur. And I think that's one of the reasons why we like this challenge so much, is because it gets people, you know, you have to think outside the box. Most of us are not painters or drawers. Some of us are, you know, but a lot of us crochet because that's something that we've realized that we're good at. And so this idea of having to, you know, trying to decorate a hook can be a really great challenge for a lot of us to try something new and get our brains working in a different capacity. And I promised myself that I was going to do this year. And when I say do this, I mean follow through and decorate my own hook, because I'm usually quick to say, oh, I really don't have time, you know, I don't have to, the challenge isn't for us, you know, it's for other people. But I feel like it's good to join in and do it too. So I mixed a little bit of purple. I've got a lot of yellow going on where I don't want it. And, you know, if you dye your hair blonde, you buy the purple shampoo to get the yellow out. So, mixed a little yellow in with my white, and we're going to see if that makes any kind of difference. Might need some more white here in a minute. I feel like my hook is going to be bigger than 19 millimeters when I get done with it. If I continue adding layers of paint. Alright. Oh, I need to see how much battery I have too. Oh, 43%. It's fine. Tracy, I think you asked what the temperature was here, and I'm actually not sure. I would have to look, but I would think, I know my car was in the 90s, but my car also sits directly in the sun, so I would think maybe low 90s today, but it's not as humid as it's been. So that's a nice break. All right, I've covered up the majority of what I feel needs to be covered up, because most of the stuff up here is still orange, and I do think that I'm going to stick with this kind of sunset idea. So I could, I don't know how long that takes to dry. I may add a little bit more white to some of these areas that is still feeling a little yellowy. I would love to know if anyone is using acrylic paint on their hook, because I have not done this. I think I painted with some blacklight reactive paint not too long ago. It was back when we really kind of first started making hooks, and I wanted to try to hand paint some of them, which I quickly realized was not really my thing. But a few people have some hand painted hooks from me. Hello JLB Crochet, how are you? I'm just working on my DIY hook. So that's where we're at. I got the bottom almost back to a white-esque, which is my goal. And I think I'm going to, I feel like I need to look at some sunset pictures. I think that would help me. Tracy used acrylic paint. Awesome. And Tracy, did you already submit your hook? Or you said you were still working on it? I can't remember. I know you mentioned it earlier in the chat. Okay, so I may go ahead and try to do a little bit of the yellow back on the top, since now I know that that's going to be the fade. I'd really like to do a light pink too. Like a light pink. Isn't that in? Sunset's got light pink in it, I would think. So let's do a little there, a little more here, a little more here. I think my colors were just too primary. So I feel like I need to lighten up all of them. Let's see if I do like a light yellow. I haven't mixed paint like this since probably high school art class. So that's pretty interesting. Ooh, that's kind of like an egg yolk yellow. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know how I'm feeling about that. I think I want the brighter yellow. But that's okay. That's okay, that's okay. I feel like I really do need to go watch some Bob Ross before I continue to ruin my hook. Okay. Let's see. What's that color? Oh, that's kind of pretty, I guess. I have a pretty orange. Going back over all of my additional layers. Do a little more yellow. I feel like some of this paint is already starting to dry. That's what I'm looking for. I need to start trying to mix them. But in a way that's nice. Like a fade. And I think some of that is going to have to be layered. I think that's the problem, is I have to let this dry completely and then continue to try to layer it. And I think that's how I'm going to get the effect I'm looking for. But that's progress. I think. So I'm back to having a nice fade on the top. Like a savage. Somebody's awake from their nap and joined in on the live. Hello! So that's a good, I think, I like that fade. I think that's a nice fade. So let's see if I can get a little more bright yellow on the top. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay. So if I can keep that bright yellow on the top, then I can kind of start to fade the color down. And I think it might actually start to kind of look like I'd like it to look. I think some of that is going to be better color mixing and better color separation. I got to make sure the color's actually mixed before it goes on the hook. All right. It's like being in art class. You know, that was one of the things I really liked about art class, was that you were given projects, you know, and you had to make of it what you will, but you definitely had specific. Okay, so my husband said to read his comments. I'm going to have to go back and find them, because I saw that he said like a savage. Oh, I see someone is getting paint all over the ends of my brushes like a savage. I'm going to clean it off. It's one brush. Look at that. One brush, and it's not on the ends. It's not on the metal. Love Crochet asks, do all your patterns require bulky yarn, any 4-ply patterns? Yes, so all of my patterns do require bulky or super bulky yarn, but you can hold 2 strands or 3 strands or 4 strands of a 3 or 4 weight yarn together to match gauge. I have a lot of people that do that, so that way you're not having to buy all new yarn. So if you only have 4 weight yarn, you can always mix and hold multiple strands together. It's always a good option. Okay. Let's mix a little more yarn. Mix a little more yarn. I'm talking about mixing yarns as I'm mixing paints. All right. So again, I'm trying to make sure that I actually mix this color really good on my plate before I put the brush onto the hook, because it was I was mixing my paint on my hook, and then it was really hard to control what the colors were doing. So if I can better control the color that's going on the hook, I think that will help me be a little happier with my end result. I do have to say, the more layers I put on, it's kind of filling the layer lines that occur when you 3D print something. And so it's kind of filling that in, which is kind of cool to watch that. See if I've got any more yellow. Do a little more yellow. Okay, I think I'm figuring this out thanks to you guys. Just hanging out with me while I worked on it. It's definitely a process, for sure. When you don't usually paint, it can be interesting, to say the least. So that's where we're at. I think that's looking pretty good. I know it's not going to be super, detailed. I know the resolution's not that great on these lives, but I think you can get the idea pretty good. Oh yeah. See, now Now I'm starting to figure it out. Got a good color mix. It's just a little bit lighter. Right above that one. Maybe I can kind of mix that down in there. I hope you guys can hear all of the critters out here. They are talking up a storm right now. It's great. Getting up there in the neck of that hook. Kind of reminds me of a candy corn now. What y'all think? I think it's pretty good. I think I did what I wanted to do, which was get it back to kind of that sunset feel up top, and then I'm going to do something totally different on the bottom. And let's see. We can go a little bit darker down here on the bottom. So now it'll be interesting if I can let this dry and paint over it again once it's dry. It'll be good to see how the paint reacts. So I'm putting it on pretty thick. I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing or not. We shall see. But I do feel like I'm having to cover my tracks from that first coat that I then covered with white. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Just wanted to get that part done, and I will have to come on live again when I work on the next layer and I can share my progress with you guys. But I think that's probably enough for now. Since I started, covered it, and went back over it. But I do really love the sunset feel. Maybe I can do some kind of drawing with black once it's totally dry over the top and actually do, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for now, that's where we're at. Thanks, Tracy. I think Tracy's been here for the whole shebang. So you followed all the progress. All right. So, verdict on my original plan. I wanted to mix mica powder and glitter and paint. Couldn't tell a difference at all. So I would not recommend trying to do that. I think if you're going to use glitter or mica powder, that you should probably apply it directly. Maybe even like spray or roll your hook in like a glue or something, and then sprinkle or roll the glitter onto the hook instead of trying to mix it into something like paint. But I'm still excited to be using paint because, again, I don't paint very often, so this is fun to get the paints out. And I think my goal now is going to be like a sunset. So I've got this, you know, yellow to dark orange. And then I think that that is going to stop at some green. And I may figure out a green fade, maybe like a bright green to a dark green. And then once that's dry, I can do like little dots of like pink and purple for like flowers. I think that would be nice, and it would still be pretty abstract. I'm not trying to draw anything too detailed, because that's not really my thing. But I think it'll be nice. So I appreciate you guys joining in. I am going to post this to my feed. Maybe immediately. I may wait a little while. And yes, Mod Podge, Sam Blue Eyes, is a good choice for that. And you could even do like a collage. Last year, the hook that I did 2 hooks last year. The Flower Power one where I drew the flowers on it and did the Sharpie markers, but I also did one where I cut up old comic books, not expensive ones, cut up comic books and wrapped a hook in comics. So that was really cool, and I actually used tacky glue. I tried Mod Podge, but it didn't hold it very well to the hook because of just the material of the hook. But I used tacky glue, and you did it just like Mod Podge, and covered the whole hook in comic book strips, and then resin coated that. So that was really cool. I would love to see someone else try like a collage over their hook. I think that would be really fun. Love Crochet asks, what's the smallest hook you sell and what's the price? Right now the smallest hook we sell is a 10 millimeter. Not DIY. So the DIY hook challenge is always everybody gets the same size. This is a 19 millimeter this year, so everybody's decorating a 19 millimeter hook. But we sell finished hooks. 10 millimeter is the smallest one. Our hooks are $45 a piece. They are ready to ship. So if you purchase one, it's not made to order. We ship it out immediately within like a day or two. And yeah, so, and those are all in our Etsy shop. So we try to keep all of the sizes in stock. So if you're looking for really cool, fun, colorful, bulky, chunky hooks that are ergonomic, that's our specialty. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna log off for now. That's the final look, and let me see if I can get a little closer for you. There we go. That might actually show you a little closer up what we're working with, and then the ruined portion over here. So, all right. Bye, guys. Till next time.